Welcome to another tutorial in IronCAD on Toby's practice models dated 8/5/2024. This is a piston arm, not too complex, but basically we're going to start with some cylinder shape here, and then we'll use a rectangle on the cylinder and move it out to the right position, and then do some cutouts here with mainly everything you see in this model will be done with drag and drop shapes, except for this middle piece here. We'll edit the cross section so we can do the tangency and do our offsets for our cut, and that will be all it'll take to build this in IronCAD. So let's go ahead and hop over and show you how this is done. So we're going to be in millimeter units, and we're going to start with the cylinder, and we're going to just drag and drop that out. And the diameter of that is 120, so we'll just type that. And our height is 50, which is already our default for millimeters, so that's already set up for us for that. Next, we're going to drag and drop and extrude right onto the center point here. And what we're going to do is right-click on this and just flip the extrude direction, and then we'll pull the bottom handle down to make sure that we're set at 50. Because the overall height of this extrusion, we're going to do a right-click and drag and set that to 100. So that's get us right in the middle of the part. And then we know the length of this part is going to be 50 millimeters. That's what we're going to move off into space. And how we're going to move this is using the tri-ball. So we're going to move the tri-ball to this back side here, and then we'll just hit the space bar again to get it to blue. And what we'll just do is lock this axis down, and we're going to first hold the shift key down and select to the cylinder. So that puts us at our starting point, because we know the distance from this this edge, actually it's the far edge here that we want to point to. So I'm going to redo that again. I'm going to hit the space bar, move it to this edge, lock it again with the space bar, move it back to the center point. Now I know my offset distance from this by pulling it out will be 300. So that's an easy way to do that, just with a tri-ball to reposition your shapes. You don't have to do datum planes or anything like that to get this out here, so we'll just do that to do that. And we know the width of this is going to be basically 50 millimeters, so we'll go ahead and right-click and drag on that one, make sure that's set to 50 millimeters as well. Next, we can go ahead and put our cylinder onto this center point, and we're just going to right-click, flip it down to the other side, and then we'll just use our handles and our shift key to snap to the bottom and to the side to get this to be sized correctly. So that gives us our starting point for that particular shape. While I'm here, I'll go ahead and cut the rest of this out. So I'm going to put in a cut shape here, and I'm just going to pull it through the model. I can snap it to the other side or just pull it all the way through. It doesn't really matter. Now I'm going to right click and drag this up to the top, and we know this is going to be 30 millimeters back on that, so it's 100, so it's going to be 70 on that to move it off that side. And then we can pull this back handle here and do the same thing as take that 75 and minus 15 millimeters on that side. So that gives us our locations for that. And then we can do a simple through cylinder here, which has a radius of 20 on that, actually 25, 20 on that one. Almost typed in the wrong value. Next, we want to do this shape here. So we're all on the center point. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag and drop on this top face so that we're looking in this direction. We're going to drag and drop and extrude right onto this point here. And what we're going to do is we know that this needs to be 50 millimeters here, so it's already in the right alignment. And what we need to do is move it down and set the height value. So the height value of this guy is actually, let's see, 15 millimeters. So we'll go ahead and set that, and then we can just turn the tri-ball on again, hit the F10 key. And what we're going to do is hit the top axis, hit the space bar, move it to the center here, and then I'm going to move it down to the center of this edge as well. So that gets us right in the right position that we want to be, and then we can just pull this back here to that location and simply just pull our other handle off over to maybe the center point there. So that gives us our starting point for our shape. Now we can just edit that cross section just by right clicking and selecting edit cross section, and that will take us into this mode. So what we want to do is get the tangency of this cylinder here. So what I'm going to do is do a project constraint. I'm going to use construction because I really don't want it to be real. I'm just going to put that there, and that will give us our geometry. Right now you're seeing all this geometry because it's saying display all. You can hide all just to see the curves if you want. Sorry about that. And then we can just pull this out until we get to our tangency. You'll see a little indicator, the blue indicator there, telling you that you're tangent to that curve. So then we can just grab the other one, do the same thing, and move it over to the curve, and we'll get our tangency to the other side. So now what we need to do is offset these two curves on the side. So we'll just select both of those by just dragging from right to left and selecting those, and we'll just offset those. Those have an offset of 15 millimeters, so let's type that in there, and we want it to go on the inside, so we'll flip that, and we don't need a constraint or anything. We're just going to create that geometry there. Next, I'm going to draw a 2-point line right on the center point here, so we know that this has a distance to move down, or we can offset it either way, so we'll just do an offset in this case is 75 from there. So we're going to move it down with a dimension, and just multiple ways of doing that. Again, you got to make sure which way that's going. When you hit the tab key, you can see preview that it's moved up the up direction, so we'll just flip that to the other direction to get it there and hit OK. So we've got that in the right location, and I'm going to right click on that and turn that back to real geometry as well. And then the bottom one, we know from the dimensions, it's going to be from here, it's going to be another 15 or say 20 millimeter. Let's see, was it? That's 50 for that. That's 25 from there. So we'll just take this curve here and we'll offset that one 25. Again, we want to see which direction that's going. It's going in the wrong direction. We'll flip that to the other side and hit OK. I should have turned my construction off there, but we'll just go ahead and create that. All right, so now that we've got those in the right location, we can trim some of this geometry away. So we can go ahead and say trim these particular curves here we don't need, or we can hold the curve down and move around to trim that. And then these excess pieces here that we don't need as well. So we don't need any of this geometry here, and then we just delete these two up at the top. So now we've got our profile where it needs to be, and we've got our construction, we've got the shape here. What we need to have on here are some radius that are 12 millimeters. So I'll select all that, select my radius tool, type in 12, hit enter 2 times there, and it'll get out of that command and add our radiuses to that. So that's basically the shape for the inner piece. And we go ahead and hit finish. And that will put us back with these being tangent and this being aligned where it needs to be. And the last we need to do is drag and drop a cylinder right onto that center point there, which has a diameter of 75. So that should give us everything that we need for our model. That's all there is. Oh, sorry, do need to have a blend inside of here and here, which has a value of 12 millimeters as well. We'll hit enter to apply those, and that should be our final shape for our model. So let's go ahead and select our part, go to our properties. It has a mass density of 7,800, so this should be at 4874 for the actual mass in grams. So that's all it takes to build that model. Fairly interesting, but basically just added the cross section, some things we did in some of the earlier ones as well. So hopefully you find this one useful. Thank you.